managers, thank you for coming to your own session. For those of you who don't know me, although the majority will, my name is Tom. I'll be your presenter for today. This particular session, kind of similar to the budget manager one, is very close to my heart because I am also an ops manager and I have been one for a number of years. So I have a kind of particular interest in running this session. As you know, with every single drop-in, this is designed to give you an overview, more in-depth information on Canvas. I'm sure you know Canvas. I'm actually building a page for ops managers as well, where I will be putting the information covered today kind of just in a structured way so that you can revisit and see the content again. As far as the content is concerned, now this session is a slightly quirky, strange one, if you like. There are like two themes to it. The main one is going to be reporting, and then I'll talk a little bit about the different roles on the system. So, and that is because the role of operations manager, I know from experience, which is why I have it kind of 2 bullet points in there on the system and in real life. In real life, it is a role that encompasses very, very many different things. I always say that I have made my career on doing things nobody else wants to do. And that is basically what being an operations manager is. So in real life, it's an all-encompassing role, but on the system, it is actually very limited. You are given an operations manager role. All you get is access to one report with 2 tabs on it. We're going to have a look at it, but obviously that is not the reality of what being an ops manager is, which is why the second theme of roles comes into play, and we will be looking at other things. So when you are, or when you were filling in that spreadsheet that we asked you to fill in, to tick the boxes for the different roles that you want people to receive and also yourself, you have probably, I expect, have ticked majority of the different boxes for majority of the roles for yourselves. Because again, ops managers, you will just do it all. Which is why I will be focusing on the other roles as well and have a bit of a discussion and show and tell there. So we have a head of school and college role, which is also a reporting role. So majority of you or some of you are supporting your heads of schools and heads of colleges in your areas. I'm not going to spend too much time on it because effectively what this is they get access to the same reports as ops managers do. So that's what it is. Once you've seen that report, you know what your heads of college and heads of schools will also see. Then you have definitely ticked the box for the financial analysts. So I will just very quickly run the actuals and commitments report, talk through the tabs, just in case you haven't attended the budget manager session. Some of you may have, in which case it will be a repeat. But I will just focus on running this report because being an ops manager means managing budgets, and it's quite important to get that across. Then we'll focus on the local health and safety, and you may have given that role to someone you manage, or you may have given it to yourselves. So that will be a role that will be responsible for updating records, individuals' records on the system with risk assessments, incident reports, and stuff like that. So I will actually show you what that looks like, how it's done, so that either you can do it or the person in your team who has that role, you can support them in doing that. And then we'll have a chat about the recruitment coordinator, what that means, because again, I am expecting majority of you probably will have that role on the system as well, so I'll talk about how that works. Now, I appreciate that it would probably be more useful, or may have been more useful if the session had been run before you actually had to fill in that spreadsheet and tick the boxes. But either way, I think it's good to have that understanding and see how the roles are performed, because we can always, once we go live, rejig, give people, other people access, revoke, change. It's not gonna, it wouldn't be perfect picture anyway. So I don't think there's ever a bad time. I will start with access to reports to just give you an understanding of how exactly this works on the system, because there are some changes. So for ops managers, when you get given the operations manager role, it is automatically provisioned based on your place in the MIU departmental structure. I don't know if you're familiar with MIU. Colleges and schools should be quite familiar with that process. Professional services, I think we've only done it once last year, and that was that. manual process that will take place in August to effectively update the structure of our colleges, professional services departments, and so on. It's very important because you will be assigned a particular place in the institution based upon that MIU mapping. So it's actually quite important to be feeding into this process so that you understand exactly the impact of what that does. So let's say you are in student services, and underneath the student services there are four departments, one of which is also called student services. So it's like a child value of it. So the person who is an ops manager at that level, the student services level, they see obviously their own child data for the student services, but they also see all other three sub-areas data, because that student services also happens to be the parent value for all four of those. However, ops managers in all those three other areas will only see their own. And every single department structure works in this way. There's always a parent that once you get given that role, then it means you see all the data underneath. All the other ops managers in other areas will only see their own. So there's a bit of a almost like an ops manager at a higher level and an ops manager at a lower level, even though you might consider yourselves being equals. As far as the system is concerned, you get different access. And that is automatically provisioned. So there comes a challenge with that. So for example, in MDS, there are institute managers, and they happen to be assigned in the structure into the hub. And because they are in the hub, they will see the hub. They will not see the institutes that they belong to. So there is a bit of a challenge there with how it is done, which I will come back to, because there could be a way to address it. Then we have the head of school and head of college. This is based on areas of responsibility we can assign manually. So they have been set up in a slightly different way. So I said at the beginning that both ops managers and heads of schools and colleges see the same reports, and that is true. But because of this distinction between automatically provisioned based on MIU and also the areas of responsibility, you might actually end up seeing different things. Hope it makes sense. Or the same things. So the result could vary. Now, you could be asking the question, okay, so why do we have it in this way? Why couldn't we have the areas of responsibilities which we can assign manually also applying to ops managers? And that is indeed something that we are looking at. If we were to do it now, and just give you the areas of responsibility on the system, when somebody would be looking you up in the directory, you would actually feature as a head of school or head of college, because you would have to create almost like a copy of that setting, area of responsibility, and apply to ops managers so that you display it properly. So it's a workaround. We will probably not enable it because of that result. You would be featured as head of school, head of college, but we are looking at updating that ops manager setup so that we have that area of responsibility functionality enabled to it, which I hope makes sense.
Tom, just going back to the MDS example. I did query this quite a while ago, because it wasn't clear whether EPS has a separate hub. We have the college, and then we have the 7 schools, and a couple of departments. But we don't have anything called the college hub. So my question was, when it says college, does it mean the college hub, or is it the parent of all the others? And what I got back was that they didn't think that there was a separate hub. And so if you assign to the college, you then see the whole college.
Yes.
I'm slightly nervous now that might actually be a problem.
What I can do is I do actually have access to that mapping, the MIU mapping. So I could literally have a look at what it is on the system.
So in MDS's case, is there a separate hub?
Yes.
I think because we've got a separate org code, so there's like an administrative organisation code. It's not ColMDS. There's another ColMDS org code, which I presume is probably the parent of the institute org code. And if we're on that one, I think we would then have access to the institutes underneath it. But this C261, I think it's called, is a completely separate org code.
And if you put assign a person there, if you give them the ops manager role, because it automatically will pick up on the fact that they're in the hub, it will give them data only for the hub. It will not recognize that they need the institute data. We could, if we had the areas of responsibility, make it independent setting, in which case a person could sit anywhere. We just give them the areas of responsibility for that institute, and then they can see the institute. But it is not how it's working, and it will not work like that when we go live immediately.
Okay, so initially, don't panic.
Initially, don't panic. Run the report, which I'll show you how to do, and then you will be able to gauge whether you have the right level access. If in doubt, I don't know if the MIU structure is something that is widely shared. I have it. It would be useful to
would it follow the same structure as the finance codes?
Potentially.
Because I think we've got access to that. So if it follows the same.
We can have a look. We can have a look later after the MIU that I have access to. You will see, or you will immediately recognize, oh yes, this is okay, or no, this is not okay. Then we have this health and safety coordinator, which, like I said, the people with this role will be able to upload risk assessments, occupational health documents onto people's records. It's also based on areas of responsibility. So let's say I will be one for NUCO team. Once I'm given that, then I can access NUCO team's individual records and then upload the necessary file if I need to. So similar principle. The recruitment coordinator, so this is our kind of third way of handling that security. This is based on the place in your organization again. However, because it's a different module, it's called Taleo. You may have attended some sessions around that. Taleo itself only has 3 levels of organization, not 5. So MIU has 5, and the core application handles all those levels. The Taleo does not. What that means is it's more limited because you have fewer options, but because of that, it actually ends up being more open, because you will stop at that 3rd level. You will not go into greater level of detail. So again, if you give somebody a recruitment coordinator role and it stops at, let's say, let's use has as an example, has, that is the 3rd level, which means they see all of has. They don't see any, there's no way to restrict it for any other department sitting underneath. So anybody in has with this role will be able to see all of HAS's recruitment going on at any given time. So limited in how you can set it up, but it means you just see more. So something to bear in mind. Hope it makes sense. So let's get to your report, Ops Managers. So I'm going to come out of my presentation and go into the application. I'm logged into the testing environment, which is the closest that we can get to the live one. I'm logged in as a dummy account, BI scheduler, and you should already know, majority of you, that to access reports, you're looking at tools, and in tools you have reports and analytics, and this is how you access all reports: financial, line manager dashboards, heads of school dashboards, all of those. It's all in the same place: tools, reports, and analytics. When I click on that, it takes me to this page, which I, in the top right corner, have to click on Browse Catalog. This will create a new page called Oracle Business Intelligence. This is where you'll be accessing your reports. Now, we are in the process of migrating reports as we speak to put them in the right places. So I'm kind of hoping that everything is still there where I expect it to be. The main area that you will be accessing are the dashboards. So you will have a number of dashboards here. So all the reports that you have access to will have their own dashboards. So you will only see the ones that you have access to. Here, I just see everything. So the Ops Manager dashboard will sit in the UOB custom dashboards. And you can see I have head of college and head of school as well. So this is where they would be accessing theirs. And then I have the Ops Manager dashboard. So this is where it is. So I click on that. And it takes me to your report. So what we have on the dashboard is effectively 3 reports: absence rates, staff FTE, and Tier 2, Tier 5 no attendance recorded. Now, I said that the reports between the head of school and college are exactly the same. Kind of true, but not they will only see the first two tabs. However, the third tab that we still have here, which is probably going to be removed, is no longer valid, and that is because we changed the process of how Tier 2 and Tier 5 is going to be monitored. You may know there was a bit of a promotion around the process. So the report is feeding off the time cards functionality that we were going to ask the Tier 2 to Tier 5 sponsored employees to fill in, but we no longer are going to be doing that. They will be following a process of submitting their absences instead. So we're going to be managing their attendance by exception rather than asking them to log every day, if that makes sense. In which case this report will become redundant because we will not have that data. So ignore it for today. The absence rates is effectively what it kind of says on the tin. You have an option to review for your particular area the absence rates of your staff in your area. So by default, you kind of see slightly more, maybe not as helpful, those data points year on year. So we have 2018, 2019. So the chart is a bit kind of not very detailed. You have an option here to change this to a view that is maybe slightly more useful, I find, a list. So what you can select is a list, and then you'll be able to see a full breakdown of those different absence types, number of absences, and then the leave durations. So again, this will be limited to your area, so I would imagine that the numbers will be smaller. Here, I have access to everything, which is why I have thousands. What you can do, because this is kind of putting in all of those different types of absences, you might not be interested in all of them. At the top, you have an option to restrict this to select absence types. So if you attended employee training or any sort of drop-in that was talking about those different absences, this is exactly where it's feeding from. So what you can do is, let's say, select search, and maybe I don't want all values. Maybe I just want the one that you will probably be most interested in, sick leave days and sick leave hours. Then I click OK, click apply, and then the report will just limit what it displays to showing me those sick leave days, sick leave hours, also by year. What you have an option of doing is, because all of these, this is an interactive report, all of these are hyperlinks. So you can actually click in and see the data that sits behind it. So I'm going to go to 2017. There are 6 records, so I'm going to see what that looks like, or 6 days. So we have a full report of who, when, what was the reason, all the sickness data displayed here. So you are able to run this report, and we are going to include an option to export all of that, so you can drop it into Excel and then manipulate the data. Because I've been asked before, oh, but when I see this for the whole, let's say, college, can I have it limited for a particular department? You will need to export it into Excel and then work it out yourselves how you want to show it. Because one thing that I've also discovered as I was kind of preparing for the session is the MIU structure that we have is doesn't always 100% correspond to how people like to see data. They might have some sub-teams. There's a particular manager of a particular team, and it's not really its own thing, its own department. It is just, oh, somebody wants to see the, let's say, sickness data for that particular team. So that's why you're just going to see everything. You're going to have to export it and then organize it in the way that you want to. What else? I mentioned those sub-teams, that there are heads of those different teams within a particular department. You do not have to give them the ops manager role. If you do, they will see everything. If you just want them to see the reports for their teams, then because they are at the top of the structure in their own team, all they need to do is access the line manager dashboard, because they will be able to then see all the same data, and on the line manager dashboard there is an absence rates and staff FTE report as well, but only for their team. It comes from the their role as the line manager, if that makes sense. And because they're at the top of the structure, they can see everything underneath. So you do not have to give them the ops manager. I hope it makes sense again. So lots of complexity, how it all works. But I could also imagine that you tick the boxes for those kind of assistant directors, thinking, oh yeah, they should have ops manager because they should. But actually, you have given them open access to the whole department, which may not be appropriate, or it may be appropriate. It all depends. Any questions? Yes.
It looks like Foxy. Can you schedule a report to come into your inbox every month?
So what you can do, I'm going to have a look. In this cog, usually that's where it lives. Some reports you can, but I can see that this one you can't. So the finance report you definitely can. This one I don't see an option to schedule, so you probably need to just access it and export it as and when. Yeah. No, that is the name of the dummy account that I'm logged in as. So this would be your name here, which is why I could click and tick my account.
So, Tom,
yeah.
The line manager absence reporting dashboard also include the staff who within that group? So if
yes.
line manager manages manager and then they manage some others, the overall line manager.
It's based on the
team as well.
It's based on the line manager structures.
So like a trial unit team leader, for example, doesn't need the ops manager role, they just need to be.
And they will run the report for all of their direct reports and those underneath, up until that level. And that applies to all line managers. So even if you have a line manager lower level, they will be able to see the lower level of reports, but obviously not high level. So in majority of cases, you might not even need to give them ops manager role. It's only for like real ops managers. It's us. Staff FTE. You will basically get a breakdown of all the different person types that we have on the system in your area. So again, I have access to everything, so we have a nice number in there of the members of staff. But again, this is drillable. So let's say I focus on the casuals. This will ask me to click on person details, and then you are able to see who they are. And again, line managers have that on their dashboard as well. I picked this one in particular because it should load a bit quicker than the other ones. If you have thousands, then we would be waiting quite a while, so I'm hoping this will come up in a minute. Any questions in the meantime? There we go. So what you will see is a full breakdown of the person's number, person's name, their position, the job name, job family, worker category, assignment. You can see the department, whether they're full-time, part-time, FTE, hire dates, full breakdown, grade, also grade step. So you'll be able to see salary information. whether it's casual, obviously I've picked casual, so all of them will be casual. Manager name, termination date, and the organization names. So it's effectively full breakdown of your staff, who is where. So again, my managers have the same for their own teams. Ops managers will just be able to run that for the whole area. So think about who should really have access to this.
Just on that particular screen,
Mm-hmm.
if they've got two roles, will they be listed twice?
How's that going to work? I would imagine that they will be. They will.
So
have.
for argument's sake, Joe Blogs,
Yeah.
he's got the same person code,
Mhm.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Mhm.
but he's in post number 81304 and 81307. How will that show on there? Because I don't want it so that it's combined names.
I think it will show separate because I'm looking at now because a lot of casuals have kind of different assignments. So I can see what the report does is it splits, let's say I'm looking at Max here, it splits that person into two, but then combines the data when it's the same, when it's similar, and then it only splits out where it's different. So we can see the area, it's arts and law for this, and then research for the other. So I think if there's a different assignment, then even the job title will be different, but I would expect it to have it separate because they are, as far as the system is concerned, separate assignments.
The separate assignments as in separate post number, but the actual job itself is the same.
It won't matter. The report will just have the same job title, but all the other data will be different because it needs to be different. So it will have that. And obviously the salary, the grades might be different, so it will all be separated. Any questions? Okay, finance report. I closed down. The way to access finance report, so this is a bit of a repeat for those of you who attended the budget manager session. It's not in UOB custom dashboards, it's in UOB custom finance. And there will be a link for the general ledger report. You might not see the others. You might just have general ledger in there. I don't know exactly how that's going to look like, but it is going to be in this dashboard. I'm going to access it in a different way because we're in the process of migrating those. But effectively, when you click on that, you will have an option to click on Actuals and Commitments Report. And here it is. So, by the way, for those of you who like to schedule, in the actions in the cog, you will have an option to schedule this report, and you have an option there to select the frequency, the email addresses. It's quite easy to follow. You just follow the steps and schedule this as you want. But this is where it is. Coming back to our parameters, so at the top you have a budget name, and then you have a ledger, which will be UOB Ledger GB. Then you have a period year, and then a period name. So you can run this report for a particular month. So I should, I think March 2019 is the last one that I can have. So I don't think we closed April on this just yet. But let's say you are selecting the last month. Oh no, we have May, April, May. Okay, good. So you have April. Then at the bottom we have what you may recognize as those new 7 segments in the accounting code structure. So you have the company, which I would suggest you leave as all. Then we have the analysis, cost center activity, and sources of funds. So what you can do with this report is just have all everywhere and just run the report, and it will give you the full financial breakdown of everything that you have access to seeing. But what you can also do is, let's say I can go into analysis and click on search, and it gives me, so the system already remembered what I've used previously. You can limit it, the report, to just show you particular analysis codes. You would probably as well want all of them, but maybe on the cost center side, you could go and search and actually maybe not see all the cost centers that you have access to. Maybe you want to see a specific one. P230, I know my code, this is transaction services. Maybe move that across. Maybe the name contains, and I don't remember the number, I want legal services. And I click on legal, and the child value is P101. So this is the cost center, but you can also see some other values in there, and these are the parents. So again, there is a when as far as the account code structure is concerned, they're also nested within their parent values. So we kind of have to go through the process of going live and realizing exactly what that means for you. Because if I pick, let's say, the IK legal services, I know I'm picking the parent value at the top level. So that will effectively show me the full data for the whole legal services. I do not have to pick all those codes separately if I have more than one. Legal services is small, so they only have one cost center in there. But you can imagine you might have a department or a college or school, they have 20. You don't have to select all 20, you just select the parent level, put it in, and then it will show you all the values for that. So I could click on that, quick move, and I know that these two areas, one cost center and then the whole of legal services, will be included in this report. So you can limit it in this way. You can also do this exactly the same for activity. So let's say you are analyzing a spend for marketing in a particular area. So you're limiting the cost center, then you're picking activity marketing, and maybe the source of funds is from a particular external funder, and you know the code for the sources of funds, and that's all you run the report on. When you are scheduling your reports, you are also able to put those parameters in. So you could potentially schedule several different reports to come to your inbox based upon those different parameters. Oh, I want one report with everything. I want another one, just show me marketing. You can play around on that screen to your liking. I will not run this report because it will take some time. I've already got one prepared like I do on the Budget Manager session. So I'll just talk through the tabs. The very, very first one will show you the parameters you chose for the report so that you never forget exactly what the report is capturing. And you can see I've run this for March. I have some analysis codes, particular analysis codes that I selected. One cost center, all activity, all sources of funds, and obviously all companies. So I know exactly, yes, this is my analysis of what looks like income. Then we have 3 tabs for the actuals that summarize the data based upon those segments: activity, source of funds, and analysis codes. So starting with activity, it takes the activity as the top level. This is our the first level of analysis. It takes that activity and then gives us the actuals for that. So if you're interested in particular, I don't know, in how much you spend in a given month for information technology activity, then all you need to do is scroll across and it will give you all the figures. And you know, oh yeah, I spent this month £6,600 for that particular activity. What you also have here is obviously you have the full year actuals for previous year. There's nothing in there. The budget for current year, in this case, there's also nothing there, but we will all have some kind of amounts loaded on here. Previous period actuals, so this is up until that particular month. So I ran it for March, I think, so up until February, this was my spend. Then we have the current month actuals only, so this is quite similar to Boxy. Then we have the commitments, which are approved purchase orders. Then we have a total, and then budget remaining overspend, exactly how you would expect it. And then at the bottom, it all adds up to an amount, some kind of total. Then we have the same information, but this time it's the sources of funds that is the primary parameter that we are using. So let's say for commercial services, you can look at these 2 lines and establish how much you spend for that particular one. So it's the same figure, so I imagine there is a bit of an overlap there between the activity and sources of funds codes. But ultimately, this all adds up again to the same figure because you are just looking at the same numbers, but at the different in a different way. Analysis code, again, the same. So how much you spent on catering, regardless of the activity, regardless of the sources of funds. You can scroll across and see how much you spent. So in a way, this is designed to kind of do all the analysis for you, so you don't have to think, oh, how now I'm going to use what is now a Boxy report and effectively a list of all those individual transactions, or how much I spent on marketing. You just look at your right analysis code, marketing, it's all going to be there. The only thing you need to worry about is make sure that your transactions, when people are raising requisitions or expenses on the system and so on, that they land in the right place. So this is where it's going to be the biggest change. So in a way, you have to start thinking about how you're going to structure your budgets, because you might think, okay, I have all of these analysis codes, for example. I think the analysis will be the most useful one, to be honest. But maybe you're not involved in teaching, maybe you're not involved in research, maybe you are just actually out of the whole list, you're just interested in marketing, consumables, few other areas, and nothing else. You're not using anything else. This is how you structure your budget around those analysis codes. And then you can run a report on that, and if every transaction is logged based upon that analysis code, then you run the report for everything, and it will just give you the results straight away without you having to massage the data. But that detail is still available, starting with the purchase orders. So you have the next tab. This is effectively all your commitments. The nice thing about this is you can review this and actually see who raised what. So when people were raising the issue of, oh, people could be potentially ordering under £500 and it will just go through and nobody will see the approval, and how do we address any issues, you could potentially spot it in here that somebody maybe ordered something that they shouldn't have, and this is where you see it. So you might actually be at the beginning, get into a routine of maybe running this report a little bit more often than just once a month. That would be my recommendation, particularly at the beginning, until you get the confidence in what's happening with your budgets. But what you will have here is unit price, supplier name. I think the PO number is in there somewhere as well. Yep, and the first column. Then we have where it was delivered, quantity, full amounts, status, and line descriptions, and so on, and also including the 7 segments, exactly what was the charge. So then you can also use that. You communicated to your team, please, when you're making this order, log it as marketing, and then you can spot here, oh, they have logged it as marketing. So you might have a need to address those issues in this way. So I would encourage you to be reviewing this. And then finally, we have the journals tab. And this is effectively as close to current Boxy report as it gets. This is effectively a breakdown of all the individual transactions in that particular month. No analysis applied, it's just literally transaction, each line per each transaction, if you want to have that look. So it's quite a good report, a little bit better than what we have, because it provides that analysis for you. The only thing is getting into the routine of deciding how you want those costs to come through onto your budgets. Any questions? Okay. Health and Safety Coordinator. So I promised to show you how that works in practice. And like I said, no simulation step-by-step guide exists for that yet. It's on my to-do list, and it's one of the next things on my list. So on that operations manager page on Canvas, I will just put that on there. And to be honest, that will probably be my page for all the other bits that don't really have a neat way to put them anywhere. I'll probably put them in there. So keep an eye out for that. The way this is going to work for that particular person who has that role is if I scroll back to the Me section, because they will be given that particular area of responsibility for that area, it means that they are not the manager of the team, so they cannot access the data of the people in this way, like the managers can do. Because by the way, line managers can also upload those documents for their direct reports, exactly the same documents. They can do it as well, but they have my team, and then they will have the full team structure. We show it on the line manager training. For the coordinators, they will not have that. So what they do is they go into directory and they search either for the particular person or maybe an area. So let's say I'm responsible for Nucor, so I can type Nucor. and that will perform a search of all the people who are on this team. And then what I do is I hover my mouse over the name of the person that I want to upload the risk assessment, health and safety document, whatever else. And then there's this orange ellipsis next to the name. If I click on that, this should display a little window. And underneath personal employment, there is manage document records link. Again, as part of this level access that I have on this, I have access to everything. So that person will not see all those different links here, but they will see manage document records, which they will be able to click. And do what they need to do. So they could click on the plus icon, to add a new document. And the document types, again, that they will have access to will not be everything under the sun like I have now. They are able to search, and let's say there's been an incident. They can search for an incident report, click OK. And just follow through with the steps. So what they would fill in is the incident reference number, type of incident, first aider in attendance, and then upload the actual file. And then once they are done, not going to do it today, they just click submit, job done. So the question I got here was what they are able to see when they access the list of documents. I've made a specific request to check exactly which specific documents they will see and they can see. Because I have a feeling what it's going to be is, knowing the system, is going to be an all or nothing. So they might actually be able to see, as coordinators, all of those different health and safety related documents, even if it wasn't them uploading it, which for some people in the audience that created an issue. But for others were saying, oh, actually it would be good if they could see all risk assessments. And I just know the system that is probably not going to be a cherry-picking exercise. So depending on what the answer is, again, I'll put it on Canvas so that you can make an informed decision what to do with your accesses that you may have given to people in your team. If it's everything, you might decide to revoke it. If it's just the select ones, then maybe it will be okay. So I'll give you a specific answer around that. But the bottom line is they will be able to upload those so that the line managers don't have to do it, I guess. So you will have coordinators doing that.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
When you went to upload that document on Mike Dean's record,
Yeah.
his payslip was at the top.
Yes.
If somebody's uploading a document, can they see?
That's what I'm checking.
That's what you're checking.
That's exactly what I'm checking. If they are actually able to see all the documents that are living there, or just the health and safety one. I would expect it to be just the health and safety. Because what's the point?
They wouldn't be able to access it if they can see it, would they? So if they can see all of it, if they can see all the documents and Mike Dean's payslips at the top and somebody's adding a risk assessment, would they be able to open his payslip?
If they will, then it's a fix. Then we need to fix it. So that's what I'm in the process of checking so that we are 100% clear. Because this has been set up a while back and stuff has changed, somebody went on maternity leave, the knowledge went with them and so on. So I'm just checking it, making sure that it's all 100% clear, exactly what the person will be able to see. But we do not want them to see too much.
Something like an occupational health report, which is generated by HR.
Yeah.
Would they be keeping that in a separate area? Would they be uploading to this?
They will be uploaded to this.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
Because health and safety, from our point of view,
Yep.
is to do with
Yep. People were concerned with the confidentiality and the disability information that would potentially be on those documents and so on.
Yeah. So somebody identifies as a health and safety coordinator, usually it's school technical manager or something similar. And it would be appropriate to see that sort of information.
So I will check exactly what, and I am checking, and somebody is testing it, exactly what they see. So if, depending on what that is. If people can see payslip, then it's obviously they need fixed and it needs fixed fast. If they can see just their own documents, I think we're in a better place. So we'll see, but nobody can give me an answer, I'll be honest. We are checking it. So we'll have an answer soon. So I'm not going to do it, I'm just going to cancel. Any questions? Because I'm trying to think what else to tell you. Yes?
Yeah, it's got a little notification bubble. What sort of stuff do you get through?
In the notification box?
Yeah.
The notifications, they do many things. So if any data changes on your account, you get a notification. So for example, if HR updates something, because they will still be updating something. If you submit a request for annual leave, for example, to your line manager, they get a notification. So if you happen to be a line manager, you will be getting those, and you'll be approving and rejecting from within that area. And then once you've done that, that triggers another notification back, letting you know what happened. What other notifications I've seen? That's broadly speaking what it is. Any account changes and those requests and what happened to them and the responses effectively. If your line manager requests more information on a particular notification, again, it sends you a notification back when you see their comments, exactly what they're asking for within the system. Yeah, that's all the things I can think of. There's probably more. Approvals for purchase orders. If you're in approval pools, they will be coming through our notifications as well.
I've just got a question, so I'll go back to the pay list with all the information. Just going back. It said about probation on there.
Okay.
But so that's the normal columns that we get. But I noticed the rotate on that screen, so they normally populated.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
If there is anything to populate it with,
exactly.
it will be populated with information. So in this case, it was probably not relevant because it's casuals.
Yeah.
And then not very many people are on probation, just when they happen to be. So you will be able to see that information on this report. That's the point.
Tom?
Yes.
In the office manager role, is there a way to report on pay data? So at the moment we get a scheduled report from HR with all our staff listed and which account they pay for and what their end date is.
So most of our information is on that other one.
So
Most of the information is on there except the pay.
Except the actual pay, but you get the grade and you get the salary sign point on that report as well.
It's not so much the pay, that it's which account it's coming from research.
Okay, so that will be something that HR will have to provide to you separately. 100%.
And that will be updated all the time, so we get them every month from the centre. So we can trust that will be bang up to
I will take it away and ask exactly how that's going to work, but there are no plans to give you a report to do that. So I would expect, if I have a pen, I'll just write with this. There is definitely going to be something. I just need to check the mechanism. And again, it's a nice one to put on that page. So that will be ready there. We'll go live. Hope within the next week or two, maybe. Yes.
The Boxy report, the staff, for example, and all this, will they run in parallel and they will be live?
Okay. So what's going to happen with Boxy is we will not be creating new data on that side of the system on Coda because it will be switched off. This will take over. So we are migrating balances for this year and balances only. So you will see your balances on the new report, but you will not see any detailed information around the transactions. We're not migrating that. You will have to still access your Boxy reports. So we are not taking away that access from you. And for a good period of time, you will still have access to it. So what I would suggest doing is actually run your final report, save it somewhere, because that will never change again, and then you never have to access Boxy again. So, like I said, it will be available for a while. We will not be creating new accounts on it though. So if you have new members of staff and you want to give them access to the historical data, just share that report with them. And then going forward, we'll be creating new data here and new transactions and everything. So that's what it is.
And the HR policy reports on staffing and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
again, they won't be live or what?
They won't be live. Same principle.
Tom, with the, I noticed there's a long list of different reasons for taking leave, such as medical appointments and things
Yeah.
like that. Which, do you know what each of those options would trigger in terms of the process? So some of them, for example, would go to payroll and trigger sick leave. Some might trigger your annual leave terms would be reduced by a
Mhm.
number of days. But are the others just for information, or do they?
The
actually
others are
trigger?
for information, and the others are for effectively logging the reason why a member of staff is not at work. That is the purpose. So, like you said, the sickness one is linked to payroll, but you do not have to click the button to send it to payroll like you do now on HR. It will just do itself. Annual leave obviously is chipping away at that allowance. Can't think of any other ones, but they will obviously follow their own individual rules. So let's say maternity and paternity, they have different lengths and so on. So that is all built in within the system. But it is effectively, I want to say for information, it's more than that than just information. It's actually okay. Where is my member of staff at work, and then if something happens, then it's for that reason. But it just creates a nice framework where you can actually officially properly ask for, let's say, a medical appointment, log it, get the approval, and it's all clear and obvious. And then that will help you once you start running the report and seeing, because I imagine that's what the report is going to be used for. Then you will do your analysis of the data and identify pockets of places where the data, the absent data, is different in areas, and then you use that to manage what's happening.
Okay, question, just for me to understand a bit. So if I want, as I do now, for example, to see a certain research fellow, what account is being paid from, from when to when? Where do I see this?
So that is coming back to the question around the HR report. So I will take it away, exactly how you can access this. But like I said, it is very, very unlikely that we will give this ability to you. It will probably going to be provided to you. So I'll just seek clarity around that, how that information is going to be provided to you. Because at the moment you get it from someone. So
Get it in Boxy. I mean, you just run a Boxy report and you can see all your staff, which accounts they're being paid from.
oh, can you? I can't.
As comes on an email from Simon
So,
Tech Cost
yeah.
Agreement.
So you can do that and you know exactly, so you can move people around and things like that. So, and that's something that we do
Okay.
all the time.
Okay.
So it's very important.
It could be. So I'll take it away because I will explain
Yeah.
what is happening.
And these research fellows, as I said, we don't, it's not our team, it's the school.
But the sense I'm getting for you guys, that report is enough, but for you, potentially could not be enough if you have to keep asking every single time to run something. Ideally, you would have an ability, in which case it does not exist, but maybe it's a requirement, something to put on a list to create. So I'll take it away and see what my colleagues tell me.
I suspect a lot of this leads to the MRU problem again, because if we could run a report, we'd be able to report it on the wrong staff. We'd have to report on peers rather than on...
It's about where you actually put it, and it could probably trigger a lot of complexity because of the confidentiality of the information that report would contain. How do we contain it, and what do we link it to? Is it area of responsibility? Is it the line manager structure? Is it how do we run it so that it's appropriate for everyone? If we just give them the role, it will all take care of itself, so that they see exactly the information they need to see and not more. Could be a challenge, but I'll take it away and see what my colleagues tell me.
Tom, fitness to work documents from the doctor, I assume you attach them to the sickness absence?
Yes.
Would they then appear in the health and safety documentation?
I haven't seen it happening, so I will check where they appear. I want to say yes, just because I'm seeing payslip here, and I was expecting payslips to appear, and which they do. On the payroll tab on in-person information, you can access them from there. So that is true, but I can see they also appear here as a document. So I have a feeling that this is a repository for all the documents, regardless of what your point of entry was. You should be able to see them here, but I will double check that one.
Follow-up question.
No problem.
So we have assigned people as health and safety coordinators.
Yes.
Some of which are fine.
Uh-huh.
I've assigned all the ops managers and all the heads of school of that role, so that's fine. But where it's somebody that perhaps we don't want to access these documents, I appreciate that there's going to be a period of time where that the CSOP team aren't going to be changing people's roles within the first month or so.
No. We will.
Oh, you will? Okay.
In fact, I suspect that a lot of the calls that we will be getting is about granting access to certain areas of functionality or withdrawing access as people get an understanding of exactly what that means. So I suspect we'll be getting a lot of calls for that.
Actually, maybe it was MIU changes. But anyway, there's a way to do that.
I have actually said in the office, I suspect that this could surprise us with the volume. People are expecting other things like bugs and stuff, and I think it's the new roles. Okay, lovely. So just to wrap, so what we had a look at was the operations manager role from the point of view of what that looks like on the system. Effectively, you get access to reports, that's it. And in real life, you will be supporting your head of school and head of college. You will have the financial analyst role. You may have a local health and safety role yourselves, or your members of staff will have it. And also recruitment coordinator. Again, I would fully expect you to also have that role on it. So it's important to understand exactly how that works and what kind of information and data you can see. So I talked about those different 3 levels of how that access is given to you. For ops manager, it just automatically provisioned based on where you are. Challenges there. For head of school, head of college, and local health and safety, we have areas of responsibility. If there's any update on the ops manager role, I will post it on that canvas. If we decide to put the areas of responsibility there, we'll see, so I'll let you know. Then we had the third one, which is for the recruitment coordinator, is just 3 levels, not 5. So you will be able to see a lot more, but it is recruitment, it is requisitions. I don't think that is such a big deal. In fact, it will probably help, but it is something that the recruitment coordinators need to be aware of, because they could potentially, when they change the setting to view all the requisitions in their area, could potentially see quite a lot going on. So they need to know that. Where can you find out more? You know about Canvas, you know about our website, you know about FAQs, you know all of this. Just repeating it. Constant updates. I keep working on the website and the Canvas, so stay tuned for more updates. And if you go away and you can think of any more questions that are relevant to you, please send them to me for our contact.